What's going on, fellow humans and resellers? It is I, James, and Vern, and Courtney. And we are adoptionagency.com, 20 plus years selling on eBay. And next month will be 21. Biggity bam, home of the crooked couch. And yes, 21 years. I started in late August of 2001, right before 9/11. And I thought that was going to have a damper on the business at that time. It was a little freaky, you know, with that happening, something that catastrophic. And then the anthrax in the mail after that, you know, kind of when you're just starting a business and you get shaken right out of the gate like that, man, it's like, wow, you know, something totally unexpected, different, just wow, you know. Still remember that day very vividly. But, yeah, 21 years starting next month. So, that being said, let me talk about at the beginning of this, because we got like 26 items. I've only had like 3 items sell in the last 10 hours. So, my sale did shut off overnight at like 2 a.m. my time. So, I just started all that back up for the next 4-day phase. And then I'll list a bunch of new stuff today. But let me talk about longevity. I think that's something that people just do not talk about enough when it comes to reselling and eBay. 21 years. Think about that. 21 years of constant, everyday, full-time reselling. Not one item here, there, a couple a week. Full-time, 21 years. All right. A lot of your big YouTubers, what? The one's gone after 8? Suspended after 8 years? Another one, I don't know how long that person's been gone, but already was kicked off 2 sites. Longevity is something not to take lightly. And the one thing that gets you through that is just updating your knowledge every day, learning about the things you are listing, the things you are selling, getting to know it like the back of your hand, and it's just being second nature. That being said, things can happen, and they can happen quick. If you remember last year, I was like 3 steps away from losing my account. The next step would have been 10-day suspension, then a 30-day suspension, then gone. I was that close to losing it all. And let me run down those things for you, just so that they're knowledge for your head. And not in any particular order, because I don't remember the exact order. But first off, out of the gate was Fight Like a Girl. It was somebody newly trademarked that line and went back after all the old product that had that on it. So somebody saw an opportunity, they took it, and instead of just running with it, they went back and attacked everybody who had product that was created, from my understanding, went back and created, attacked everybody who had product that said that, even though it was made before their trademark. So just out of the blue, something you could not control, boom. Could I have fought it? Maybe. But at that time, I think that was the first one. It was just a slap on the hand, no big deal, I thought. You know, I've gone several years, 5, 6 years, whatever, without even a slap on the hand, you know, when it comes to eBay, no Veros and stuff. But within a 5-month period, I had that one. Another one, 100% my mistake, and I still kick myself for making that mistake, is Jeep Hair Don't Care on a hat, and it was not a Jeep branded item. Me being a Mopar fan, how did I make that mistake? But I did, right? Another one was, another one of my mistakes was Hard Rock Cafe. Vintage shirt. I had read some of the vintage Hard Rocks are not on a Hard Rock label from like the early 80s. Well, it got Veroed, and I couldn't fight it. So that was another one within that 5-month period. Then a couple that came out of the blue. One was, I was using Web Interpret, putting stuff on other websites across the world. And not every country is as protected as you are in the United States. And I had a building block that had a little miniature figure in it. And it got viraled, even though I'd used nothing to do with Lego in the title. In a picture, nothing. No Lego, no figure. Didn't use the word figure, minifig, nothing. Just because the picture was that product, Lego viraled it on, I think it was Germany, if I remember correctly. I tried to fight it. They wouldn't budge, right? Another one, I think there was one other in there, but I can't remember what it was. But then there was Cadillac. I always sold dealer hats, dealer shirts, and I always took it as they are authorized dealerships so that they should be able to use the terms Cadillac, Ford, Chevy, if they are authorized dealerships. So I always sold those dealership hats. Well, Cadillac had at least the company who represented Cadillac's brand said, no, no, no. And I got viraled on shirts and hats, and I got like 4 different viros from Cadillac. Thankfully, I was able to fight that and had it retracted. One of the things I did was CC'd the CEO of GM, and maybe her influence helped that also. Or maybe they were just going after real bootleg or counterfeiters or whatever. Like a lot of these big brands doing. If you push back a little bit, you know, they'll say, you know, we're going after the China, the big boys. We're not going after the mom and pop people at home trying to earn a living. So you can fight them, certain ones. So Cadillac, I was able to fight. But I think that goes to show you, it's not the item itself that matters, or I should say not the price tag itself. It doesn't matter if it's a $10 Hard Rock Cafe shirt or if it's a $10,000 Nike shoe. A brand takes their brand seriously. It is their lifeline. They are going to protect it. So if you mess with it, the wrath will come down upon you. Simple as that. Don't matter if it's $10 or $10,000. It will come down on you. You ain't going to get no light. There ain't going to be no difference between a $10,000 and a $10. You're not going to, oh, it's only $10, slap on the hand. No. You messed with our brand. Boom. Plain and simple as that. So you need to really just learn everything. Now, what I did after this, and I don't know if I even talked about this on a video. I not only did everything I could, I went beyond doing everything I could to make sure, because here's the problem. When I call eBay, one representative says, well, I think you got to go 6 months clean before your account's wiped clean. Another one said, well, I think it's 12 months. So nobody knew for sure exactly if you got to go 6 months or if you got to go 12 months, right? So I'm like, well, I'm not taking no chances. Of course, I went probably 6, 7, maybe even 8, 10 years without any even slap on the hand. So no big deal. But I'm not taking that chance. It's not worth the risk. So what did I do? I got rid of all my Hard Rock Cafe stuff out of my store, even the branded stuff, because it wasn't worth the risk. Got rid of all the Lego branded stuff. Why? It wasn't worth the risk. Now at that time, I mean, now I'm starting to list that branded stuff again, because we're getting 1 month away from it being 12 months since I had all those issues. The last issue was August of 2021. So, but I took it a step farther. I went into my purses. I don't know purses 100%. The purses I had, was I sure that they were real? 99.9% yes, because of the work I put in. But you know what? I ended them because it wasn't worth the risk. I wanted to sleep at night. It wasn't worth the risk. I went in. I know people had problems in the past with North Face. I ended all my North Face stuff because it wasn't worth the risk. $10 here, $10 there, $15 here, whatever. It's not worth the risk. I ended other little brands that I didn't know 100%, like some of my Ralph Lauren polo hats. Those things are mass faked consistently. Have I ever had issues with them? No. Have I pretty much know what to look for? Yes. But I ended them because it wasn't worth the risk. Now I'm putting them back up and stuff because we're getting closer to that 1 year mark. So you really have to take into consideration every little thing that you're listing, and is it worth the risk? If you want to do this long term, if you want to do this 21 years, you have to be... Was that a fart, dude? Or was that my stomach? I couldn't even tell what that was. But anyway, you have to really balance the risk factor so that after 8 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be, you're sitting there going, what the hell? What's going on? Because things can happen. Things do happen. And if you're doing wrong things, it's going to come back on you. Period. End of story. Bottom line. You mix that with things like, you know, like my issues with Amazon. That was my stomach. Okay, so it was my stomach. Like when I was suspended from Amazon after selling there 8 years in 2013, all they told me was you had complaints that you were selling counterfeit items. That's all they told me. We have complaints from more than one person that you are selling counterfeit items. And at that time, I was only selling media. And I know what I'm selling on media because I worked in a music store since '93. I know what counterfeit is. I know what bootleg is. And you don't push that stuff. Never have, never will. And just out of the blue, I lost all that income in one swoop. Things do happen. eBay, thankfully, is a little bit easier. They give you more chances. But those chances, if like my 5-month period last year, 2 mistakes mixed with 3 what the hells, and boom, look where I was sitting, worried and stressed. So just be very diligent in your listing, your knowing the product. Get to know everything that you are putting up inside and out. If there is any question whatsoever, throw it aside. If it's good money, throw it aside and put it up. Maybe in 2 years, you'll know more about that product because you're researching, you're looking, you're learning. And then you can put it up then. If it's not worth even the money, if it's like a $10 item, don't even mess with it. Throw it away. Move on to the stuff you do know. There's a reason I don't mess with huge brand names, Prada, Gucci, because that is not my wheelhouse. I never even walked in one of their stores, right? It's nowhere near my wheelhouse. And honestly, the only way I would touch that is if I got a super, super freaking deal on it that was hell of worth it in the way I do things, 10 times plus my money. And then even if I got that kind of deal, I'll be like, this can't be real. So chances are I'm never going to sell that kind of stuff. I'm just going to sell your average, everyday stuff that anybody can find, make 10 times plus your money, and be happy. So really do your due diligence when you're learning new products. So I think Adrian was off today, and he did a little pulling for me last night, I guess. So we're going to get this stuff sent out this morning. And so that's my little speech for today. It looks like we got another American Red Cross t-shirt that I picked up the other day. So that's good, a second one, because I had got 6 or 7 of them for $1 a piece. So we sold one yesterday. Looks like we got another one today. So not a lot of things to pull. I think we got like 26 items because of that huge blank overnight. But no offers even came through or nothing during that time. So apparently there was a little shutdown overnight. So hopefully history will keep repeating itself, and today will boom back up, and we'll have plenty of great sales. But it is a holiday, so I'm not expecting anything. What happens will happen. So some people are at work, some people are not at work. So we shall see. It's one of those days you don't expect, you just take. Take whatever the selling gods give you, if you will. All right, let's get through this real quick so I can get all mine. I got about 330 items that will be going up today. And then we will start drafting for Friday's launch. Friday's launch before I leave Saturday morning. So yay, vacation. All right, let's get going. Are you ready for a cassette lot? Yes. All right, so we're going to start off with 2 of just the cassettes. And buy 2 or more, you get 50% off. So got both of these for $6 with the free shipping. And if you're new to my channel, I only do free shipping on the loosey-goosey stuff, which I will say. Everything else I charge shipping for. The numbers I give do not include the shipping I charge. But here we got free shipping. And this is going to Ravensdale, Washington. All right, next up we got Beck Loser Cassette Single, sold for $278. So that sale will end tonight at midnight, California time. And then I will do an assessment to see if it's worth doing it this way, which I still don't think it's going to be. So we'll probably keep the $555 at 55% off per sale going instead. But it's sold for $278, headed to Costa Mesa, California. Next up, Cannonball Adderley cassette, sold for $7, headed to Williamsburg, Ohio. Are you ready for a cassette light? Yeah. All right, we got Kansas, and then we've got 3 just cassettes. Biggity bam. These items together sold for $12, headed to Virginia. Here's another one for $250. I don't remember taking offers on $250. I was declining them. Huh, that's 2 now. Very odd. Anyway, going to Flint, Michigan. Sir Mix-a-Lot. That was one downfall of this experiment sale thing I've been doing for this holiday weekend. Is Tiffany sold for $278, but the number of offers I was getting for $2 was crazy. And I'm declining them all. I'm like, no, I'm not selling nothing for $2 a piece. Even if you're buying 6 of them, I'm not doing it. If you can't pay $278, you don't really want the items. So I was kind of playing that card this weekend. And maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should have did the math. But especially if they were buying 5 and 6. But I didn't. I'm just like, no. But anyway, that was the only downfall, is all the decline of the low offers. Even a few dollar offers. I'm like, hell no. So anyway, Tiffany, $278, headed to Riverview, Florida. So after next month, I may turn Web Interpret back on. The only issue I had with them was that Lego thing, right? And I used them for 6-7 years. And they brought me in $2,000 plus a month in revenue using them, putting them. If you don't know what Web Interpret is, they put them on all the international eBay sites that you want them on. You can control which ones you do and which ones you don't. The only one really worth it is UK, and then Australia's second, and then Germany's third. Everything else, and Canada, they added Canada. Canada was growing before I ended it a year ago. So those are the 4 that's really worth it. The other 6 or so, not really worth the time or the effort to mess with. And actually, there's really no effort to using them. The only problem is a lot of these newer companies, but a lot of these newer ways that companies are coming after you, like Nike, where you can't sell new Nike shoes to countries that those shoes were not released in. So you'd have to do a whole hell of a lot of work to figure out what can and can't be sold where, which is not worth the time, right? And I heard that in Australia, they were doing it on used items also, for items going from Australia to other places. So I took all international shipping off of my Nike branded shoes, Nike, Jordan, and Converse. Took all international off of that. So if I get back at Web Interpret, I think I'm just going to start lightly with just do my media and my hats. Nothing else. Leave everything else kind of turned off. You can they're real receptive when you talk to them, and they can kind of control everything and do things for you. So I think if I go back into it, I'm going to do that. We're just messing with the media and the hats only. And because there's brands that you can't sell new, right? Because they guarantee their products, like OtterBox. And then there's some clothing brands that they guarantee their stuff for life, supposedly. So they don't want you selling it new. And they can come after you for that. So there's a whole lot of new rules coming into play when it comes from companies who are kind of skirting around the whole, what is it called, the first doctrine or whatever of, owning a product and being able to sell it type of thing. There's a lot of big companies going around and finding the loopholes for things like that. And I remember one of the big things about business tycoons and what have you that was coming out when Trump was president, and now with Jeff Bezos and stuff, how they don't pay taxes. That's what big companies do. They find loopholes in everything in order to help their brand. And there's nothing wrong with it. You know, that's the way everything's written, so that's the way it's played. That's the way the game's played. You know, this is not a game, if you will. eBay reselling is not a game. It's something to be taken seriously. But protecting your brand and whatever, you can't, and growing your business, you know, it's a business. It's just that. What they do is business. It's not a freaking game. So they're going to take any loopholes, just like what you should be doing. If you are what you should be, if you're selling on eBay, making more than $600 a month, you should be a business of one way or another. One way to do that is to write off everything you can so you pay less money in taxes. So you're technically doing the same thing all these big companies are doing by not paying taxes, because they're giving to charities. They're creating, you know, organizations, you know, and reinvesting money into expanding and stuff. So it's the same, them doing that's the same as you go, what I do at the end of the year. How much money did I make? Okay, I'm going to go buy X amount of computers. I'm going to go buy this. I'm going to go buy a bunch of inventory, whatever the case may be, just so you're not paying all that extra money in taxes. And that's what you should do to protect your brand, to build your business, to grow. And that's just the way things are. So, yeah, I mean, I forget where I originally started. I've been just mumbling, but going on. But let's just say it's not a game. Reselling is not a game if you want to be in this for the long haul. You really just need to take the business side of it and just concentrate, grow it. And then eventually, after 21 years, I still don't take it lightly, but I can relax a lot more because I've grown a secure foundation, a large vast of items that I know will sell consistently every day that I don't have to really worry about yet. And you can just relax a little and grow at a slower pace where you don't have to feel like you're so pressured. But if you're just starting out, pressure yourself to know everything about everything. And a lot of people don't know media. So if you looked at a CD, would you be able to tell if it's a bootleg item? You know, what would you be looking for to know if this cassette was counterfeit, you know, if it was bootlegged? A lot to learn depending on what you're selling. So, all right, let's get back into this. All right, Women of Destiny CD sold for $7. Headed to Spanaway, Washington. And I hope I didn't lose my point in that last ramble because I originally forgot where I started off at the beginning of it. I'll probably figure it out when if I watch the video back. But okay, I watched it. Web interpret and selling to other countries and learning what can and can't be sold across the ocean or into other territories or whatever you want to call it. So it's like a whole nother bag of apples or whatever you got to learn all the details of, and keep an eye out for any changes because it can come back and bite you in the booty hole. Bite you in the booty hole. All right, the Fair Sex Machine Bite CD sold for $278, headed to Las Vegas, Nevada. This is what I like with the way I'm setting it up now. These where I'm just taking one box out of storage at a time and not piling up my shelves, getting overwhelmed, and I can just get through a box and be done with it. Like this, we're sitting in a random box of just stuff that I had thrown aside at one point and never messed with. But Groovy Ghoulies, 3-disc set, supposed to have a slip box, but mine didn't. So I priced it a little bit lower because it didn't have the slip box, but who knows how long I've been sitting on these things, right? And they sold for $49, headed to San Bernardino, California. So $49 for something that's been sitting in a box that I threw aside probably years ago. So it's kind of relaxing, just going through one box at a time, one item at a time, and dealing with it. So feeling very comfortable with the business right now when it comes to mental comfort, like listing and getting my peace back, you know, with Dad being gone and whatever, just finding me in my center again. So it's really, I'm really getting mentally peaceful, if that makes sense. Just kind of putting all the stuff I've been through the last 6 years. You know, trying to refine, you know, find out who I am again and be me, you know. And this is really relaxing, and it's really making me enjoy what I do much more than I've always have. But it's really just taking it to another level of enjoyment for me. And I hope that's starting to come through in the videos. I feel like mentally it's coming through in some of them, but I don't really rewatch my videos, so I don't know exactly how they come across. But yeah, it's starting to feel really good again. So very happy about that. So San Bernardino, $49. All right, next up, Revenge Gun World Porn CD. Sold for $5.50, headed to Fort Worth, Texas. All right, Fabulous Thunderbird CD. Sold for $7, headed to Pittsburgh. Sue Foley CD. Sold for $7, headed to Browns Mills, New Jersey. Next up, the American Red Cross shirt. One of several I bought. The last day at the honey hole. I think I'm going to skip the honey hole this week since I'm going on vacation Saturday, and I spent more than I should have last week. So just start getting through what I do have here for this week and getting prepped for my trip. I got to get my car detailed. Haven't had a real detail since I've owned it, so go to Waterway and just get a quick, nice little detail on it. And I know there was something else I got to do, but I can't remember what. I'll have to figure that out. But anyway, American Red Cross shirt sold for $7, headed to Monroe, New Jersey. Simon and Garfunkel vinyl sold for $7, headed to Hamilton, New Jersey. 3 New Jerseys in a row. Full Tilt on K-Tel Records. All right, boom. So this sold for $10, headed to Glenside, Pennsylvania. Headed to Tarpon Springs, Florida. What do you got at Tampa Bay? Ray's New Era hat. Sold for $10. Never acknowledge you're getting old. I would never wear this hat. I love my senior discount. All right, so for $10, $10, headed to Colorado Springs, Colorado. Walt Disney Vaza. Sold for $10, headed to Florence, Kentucky. Let's see, we got Redhead hat. Sold for $8, headed to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Missouri State Fair trucker hat. Sold for $8, headed to Kansas City, Missouri. It's the blues. I'm kind of waiting to see what we're going to move, what kind of moves we're making this summer. Kind of curious to see what they're going to do. I think we should definitely restructure the defense a little bit. And I think we've got to do something up front. Probably one little move up front, which might include getting rid of Tarasenko for some great defensemen. I don't know, maybe. We'll see. I know we had issues with him, or he had issues with the team at the beginning of last year. But I think he overcame that. But I don't know. He's getting up there now, so we shall see. Anyway, St. Louis Blues hat sold for $10, headed to Fort Smith, Arkansas. Alrighty, we got a Nautica hat. Sold for $8.50, headed to Fort Mills, South Carolina. Justica set. Sold for $6, free shipping. Headed to, why did I do that? That's not a quote, that's a reel. Let's try that again. Take 2. Sold for $6 with free shipping. Headed to Kansas City, Missouri. Tri-State Seniors hat. Sold for $14. Headed to Defunkic, I don't know, Defunkic Springs, Florida. Dephonic, maybe that's it. Dephonic? Something like that. Anyway, that's my last item. At least for this morning. So now I am going to get my stuff listed so I can start drafting for Friday's list. So thanks everybody for watching. Let me give you some puppy love before I shut off here. It's so early in the morning for the puppies, yeah. So tired. All right, we shall see you in the next video. Thanks, everybody.